Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's a totally revolutionary way to think about partner dancing. It's called dance Lenga, and it really promises to shake up how we learn, how we connect, and just how we express ourselves out on the dance floor.
But first, let me ask you something, especially if you've ever set foot in a dance class. Why is social dancing so hard to learn? I mean, you spend weeks memorizing these specific patterns, right? And then you get to a real party and you just feel totally lost and stiff. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. And it turns out there's a really good reason for that struggle.
So what's the deal? Where does that frustration actually come from? Well, it all starts with this huge gap, a massive disconnect between the classroom and, the real world.
I mean, really think about it. In your typical dance school, what do? You learn fixed choreography, standardized moves. The music is kind of just there, like a metronome in the background. But then you hit the social dance floor, and bam, it is a completely different universe. It's all about improvisation. It's about creative interpretation. The music is the one calling the shots, inspiring every single move you make.
And that's the core of the problem right there. The way we're learning just doesn't match the way we actually dance. Think about Afro-Latin styles like salsa or bachata. They are all about that spontaneous, in-the-moment creativity. But for some reason, they're often taught with these really rigid, pattern-based methods you'd expect from, say, ballroom dancing. And that mismatch, that's what's holding us back. It's the source of all that frustration.
But what if there was a way to fix that, to bridge that gap? Well, that is exactly what this new system is all about. It's a completely new language for dance, and it's called dance Lenga.
And the whole philosophy behind it is so simple but so powerful. The word Lenga actually means language in Papiamentu. And the goal here, it isn't just about teaching steps. No, it's much bigger. It's about creating a universal system, this shared language that could literally get everyone in the world dancing together.
So, at its very core, the system completely reframes how we look at dance. We stop thinking of it as just a long series of moves you have to memorize. Instead, we start treating it like a language you can speak. And, just like any language, it's built from smaller pieces.
So let's take a full dance pattern, the kind of thing you'd learn in a typical class. In this system, that's called a dance module. And you can think of that as a complete sentence in our new dance language.
And of course, what are sentences made of? They're made of words. In dance Lenga, these words are called dance elements. These are the absolute fundamental building blocks for our entire dance conversation. Okay, so the very first step is to deconstruct everything. You take a complete sentence, that dance module, and you literally break it down into its individual words, the dance elements. And this is the key. This is what unlocks true creativity. All right, so we've got our words and we've got our sentences. Cool, but how do you go from knowing a few words to actually being a fluent speaker? Well, that brings us to the secret. The magic of transitions. This is the core idea behind what's called modular partner dancing.
Okay, so here it is. This is the secret sauce. Real improvisation, real freedom on the dance floor. It's not about memorizing more and more patterns. No way. It is all about mastering the transitions between the elements. It's about learning how to connect your words in any order you want so you can say whatever you feel in that moment.
And the method for this is just beautifully simple. Think of it like cut and paste. The first step, you cut. You take a familiar dance pattern, that dance module, and you just break it down into its core pieces, its individual words. And then comes the magic. Step 2 is paste. Now you can take those pieces and recombine them in any order you want. This is it. This is where the real freedom comes from. You're not just reciting some script you memorized anymore. You're actually creating new sentences, new ideas, totally on the fly.
So you're probably wondering, how do I practice this? How do you get good at this recombination magic? Well, the key is this exercise called dance loops, or dance loops. Instead of drilling some long, rigid pattern over and over, you just loop a few words together. What this does is it builds muscle memory for the most important part of all, the transitions that connect them.
But this system is about so much more than just making you a better dancer. It has a much, much bigger vision. So let's zoom out and look at the dance Lenga philosophy. So what is that bigger picture? Well, the idea here is that partner dancing can be this incredibly powerful tool, a tool to tackle some of our biggest societal challenges. We're talking about combating the loneliness epidemic, bridging social divides, seriously improving public health, and fostering a true global community, one that's built on respect, etiquette, and empathy. And honestly, this mission feels more urgent today than ever before, right? We live in a world that's so dominated by screens and dating apps, things that can honestly just leave us feeling more and more isolated. Partner dancing offers this powerful, real-world alternative. It's a genuine path back to actual human connection.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does all this translate to your personal dance journey? Well, let's talk about freedom and gamification and how you can make your dance truly your own.
The whole learning process is actually set up like a game. So you start out by creating a really simple loop, using only what we'd call level 2 or beginner elements. The goal at this stage is just to master the flow, the transitions between those simple pieces. You're building a solid, comfortable foundation.
Then, once you've got that down, you level up. You can increase the challenge just by swapping out one of those elements for something a little bit trickier, moving yourself up to difficulty level 3. See, it's not a giant leap, it's a manageable step, and that's what keeps you motivated and moving forward.
And you just keep going with this process, step by step, until you hit your goal. Maybe you've now mastered a target element that's at difficulty level 4. This whole gamified approach, it makes even the most complex-looking moves feel totally achievable because you've built up to them in a way that just makes sense. And the result of all this, the ultimate payoff, it's true freedom on the dance floor. We're talking about being able to adapt to any kind of music, whether it's salsa or pop. Being able to dance with any partner, no matter what their level is. You can even start mixing different dance styles together. You'll finally break through those frustrating learning plateaus. And best of all, you get to develop your own unique style, your own flavor, your own salsa.
So that really leaves us with one final thought. If dance truly is a language, if it's this amazing tool for connection and self-expression, it makes you wonder, right? Who will you talk to first?